Today, let's talk about a comedy that has maintained its loyal fan base, even though it's been over 10 years since they last created an episode. It's Look Around You. Now, it's UK based. You might have heard of it and be one of those fans. You might never have heard of it, but Look Around You was 2 series of so much hilarity. Series 1 was so different to Series 2. Let's take a little dive in and see why I think it still stands up today. Look Around You was created by Robert Popper and Peter Serafinowicz. Now, Robert Popper you might recognise as the creator of Friday Night Dinner, which was a really excellent UK comedy here on Channel 4. It ran for many series, based on a family that got together every Friday night for their traditional dinner, and the 2 sons would just play tricks on each other, argue, wind each other up. They had a crazy neighbour with a dog, always some sort of mishap happening. Dad had an issue with wearing any kind of top and Mum was begging him to put some clothes back on. If you haven't seen Friday Night Dinner, you should really check that out. Robert Popper was also known for the Time Wasters letters. I think it was Robin Cooper he went under for that name. I've got a few of those books. He really is exceptional at convincing people he's being genuine when he's actually taking the mick. So many things, such as writing a letter to Claridge's, sent to them under this alias. And again, it's all in the book. And you see the backwards and forwards of their responses. Writing to Claridge's saying that he's so excited to finally be fulfilling a lifelong dream of coming to stay there. Could they please refer to him as the lizard man between 9 and 11 on some days? And of course the reply that he gets back is, unfortunately we cannot fulfill that request. He writes to councils, to hotels, to companies, to clubs. And it's always something that's really off the wall, but he does it in such a polite way that they think that this poor soul is genuinely asking for their advice, or he's got a suggestion which is clearly nuts. He's such a funny guy. Then you've got Peter Serafinowicz. I mean, he's such an accomplished actor. He's also an amazing impressionist. You might know him from Shaun of the Dead, from Couples Retreat, Guardians of the Galaxy, it goes on. The thing about Peter is he had his own show, again, it must be more than 10 years ago now, very surreal, very funny. If you get a chance to check him out on YouTube, look up his Paul McCartney impression, his Terry Wogan. Now granted, if you're out with the UK or Ireland, you might not know who Terry Wogan is. That doesn't matter. If you actually Google Terry Wogan and Peter, it's the same person. He is phenomenal. But his Paul McCartney is something else, and also his Ringo Starr, many, many more. He also does Darth Vader. It's insane. I think he did some voices for the Star Wars, I was going to say the trilogies, I think it's the later ones, but he's unbelievable next level. So when they wrote Look Around You, the surrealness and the off-the-wall element of their humour is clearly there for all to see. So let's take a quick look at Series 1. Series 1 of Look Around You is made to look as if it's set in the 70s stroke early 80s. The kind of university, the open university TV programmes that you used to get. I don't know again if it's just UK based, but we used to get schools programmes in the mornings and open university programmes again, maybe in the mornings or during the night. And they used to replay them way beyond when they were created in the 70s. So they would be so out of date with these almost hippie looking scientists, or they had their flares on, really 70s with the thick rimmed glasses and the big sideburns, very serious. So they created the first series to mimic the type of schools programmes, the open university programmes, and they did such a good job that you would think quite a lot of the time that you were watching the real thing. Lots of pencils pointing at things and lots of test tubes and a very serious voiceover. What's funny about it is that they've got modules, and there's one particular module that stands out for me, and that's the episode which is entitled The Music Module. They create a song and they actually create it in the lab. I think this song is brilliant. It's one of, in fact, I think if they released the song, it would chart because it's so good, and it's called Little Mouse. And they create this song in the lab, and they put it in a key that doesn't even exist. There's all the little jokes. Again, I think sometimes it's very British humour that when they speak into the mic, they say play it in the key of, and it's a key that's made up. There's a little mouse running around the lab, so they just say we're going to call the song Little Mouse, and then the computer makes up this song, and the song to me is brilliant. Obviously, in reality, they've created this, and I think it's such a good song that I maintain it would chart. It then led on that you actually see in series 2 that Jack Morgan had a hit with it, and they subsequently made a couple of music videos. I think they made a shorter version for series 2, but they also made an extended version, which I think might have been for the DVD release. But honestly, series 1 is so amusing with all the different modules. Like, I think they do water, they do maths, things like that. But the music one stands out to me in Little Mouse. Could be in my top 10 of favourite songs of all time.
Hey now, little mouse, I hope we understand one another. Hey now, little mouse, show me what to do.
When we get to series 2, you can tell, again, I know it's very UK specific, that it's early 80s and it's got a very strong nod to a programme that we had called Tomorrow's World. And if anyone remembers Tomorrow's World, it used to be on a weekday evening. I remember it being on, I think, after Top of the Pops. That would be a Thursday. And Tomorrow's World was all about the future of science and what was coming next. And I vaguely remember things such as the mobile phones coming out. And I very clearly remember when they were talking about video phones. But for me, I remember the video phones. You were going to have a phone in your house, and it was going to have a little screen beside it. And then when you called someone, they would also have a video phone with like a big screen beside it. And then you would both see each other in your video phones on the screens side by side. And I remember thinking that was going to be amazing when it came out. Obviously now we've just got our phones, so it doesn't matter. And a lot of the time you're thinking, I don't even want to be on a video call, just forget it. Let's just go back to audio, please. But Tomorrow's World was all about the future. And when you look at series 2 of Look Around You, it's got such a strong nod to it. They even filmed some of their clips deliberately in the film that they would have used in the 80s when they didn't use the higher quality film for outdoor filming. They used a slightly lower quality. And if you know what I mean, it gives you that different result to the film. It just looks older. So I love how they actually took that time to get the attention to detail, because they do actually have a few clips where they say that one of the presenters has gone over to New York to talk to someone about this, or one of the presenters has gone to speak, which is one of my favourite clips, to someone who's creating computer games. It's just so cleverly done. Talking about computer games, there is an episode where they dedicate it to what is up and coming in that world, in the technology world. They show you a new computer coming out specifically for ladies called the Petticoat 5, and it's got all these little mod cons about what it can do. It's got an emery board instead of a space bar, it's got a mirror, it's got a little compartment for your tissues. It's so funny. There's a sports episode where they have a special report where they're talking about a new sport called Gonnis, which is golf and tennis.
Get the ball over
And
the
there's a
net,
brilliant
onto the
joke at the
green
end that I
and
don't want to
into your
spoil for
opponent's
you,
hole,
but
whilst
it's a
avoiding
new
the bunkers
sport
and the
where they're
water
combining
hazard.
two,
Well, I'm
and
developing another
honestly,
combo sport at the
they're
moment.
so
Again,
funny,
it's a mixture
but you
of
have
two
to
other
watch
sports.
it. And if you
Fencing
can get it and
and
laugh as
darts.
much as all of us did when we first saw it, then I know that you're a true Look Around You fan. There's a music episode where there are so many different guests who are going to introduce to you their music for what they think will be the music of the future, Music 2000. All I've got to say is the rap song is amazing, and the Reggae Man has to be heard and seen to be believed.
Hello everybody, listen to my song about a young man who is always doing wrong. I never seem to do or say quite the right thing, but when they play my record, gonna hear him sing.
Reggae Man, what you doing? Reggae Man, let me know.
It's really hard for me not to keep rhyming off more favourite moments, but again, you'll see who was in it. Olivia Colman was in it. There's so many people that have went on to things that make you realise that it was so well done and so well put together that you can understand why so many people didn't know that it was a spoof and thought it was the real deal. They thought they were watching a repeat when it first launched. If Matt Groening, the creator of The Simpsons, thinks it's one of the best comedies that's ever been produced, then you know that we're onto something here. So much attention to detail. The jokes are so clever. Some subtle, some laugh out loud funny. But I'd love to know, do you find it funny? Have you watched it? If you've never heard of it before, will you watch it? Is it very British humour? Is it just me that thinks that it translates everywhere? Because I think it's hilarious. Or do you think it's one of the things that's maybe more for your own territory, the own little nuances that you know from when you were watching TV growing up? I hope not, because I think that comedy, when it's good, translates across the world. So I'd love to know your thoughts. Did you watch it? Are you going to watch it? Look Around You is one of my favourite comedies ever. Let me know, and I'll see you again soon.